phone call this morning, and that's the first thing you said when you saw me. So I just want to share that with everyone.
Oh,
what that was
okay.
like.
Yeah, it sounds funny. I get off a plane at the airport, right, and I'm late, and Sandra called my agent even to find out where I was. And I had just gotten a phone call before I got on the flight from Steven Spielberg's assistant, and Christy, and I know her. And she left a message saying that Steven wanted to talk to me. So I called him as soon as I arrived in Denver. And he had just seen the last film I'd worked on, which was called Real Steel, a film with Hugh Jackman that we shot in Detroit. And he complimented me over the photography of the film. So it really made my day. And I wanted to tell Sandra, I felt pretentious telling her, but I just spoken to Steven Spielberg like off the plane. Right, it sounded like name dropping, but it was really great, and I had to tell her about it.
Cool. So before film school, you start out with kind of a love for photography, black and white photography back in the day. What is it about the camera and the image that you love so much? Why are you so passionate about this line of work?
Well, I discovered like a real love for black and white photography in high school. The whole process then was like developing a train. You'd watch the prints sort of come to life. So it was a real magical experience from actually going out and photographing certain things, and you'd be really cautious over how much you used of that roll, and then processing it, and this whole magical process of this emulsion showing up in a picture, and then all of a sudden this picture was something more than a picture, and you actually watch it develop. So I was just amazed by that moment constantly, and I wanted to experience that darkroom all the time, like go in and watch that print develop and see it come to life.
Right.
And so it became like a real passion for me, and I found that I'm really interested in visuals. At one point, it's not a very practical, and nobody in my family is really involved with the arts. So when you choose a career and you choose like photography, for my parents, it's very unusual. They're immigrants from Italy. They moved here in like '71. They want me to get an education, but they're not quite sure about this photography thing. They're not quite sure about any kind of like film, or what is our son studying?
Right.
Like what's he gonna do? So I mean, slowly I went into a junior college, and I studied sociology was my major for a long time. But I had this girlfriend who was involved in the arts, right? And she was like amazing creative person. Like she sewed, and she was into photography and all these like great things. And she went to Columbia College in Chicago. And I had gone to Columbia College in high school to visit like a little field trip, and was really just like enamored with the school and the photography department and the smell of the chemicals and being in that environment of creative people. And then I started thinking about I could actually make a living doing something like this, and it was a real strength because I really loved it. It was something I was really passionate about. I loved it, and it was something that I could study any part of it and be interested, whether it was like theoretical approaches to film, whether it was like photochemical, whether it was like optics, like all those things there's sort of like everything about it was interesting to me. So all of a sudden like mathematics was interesting because it involved this practical aspect. So that's kind of how I found my love, and it was really quite early. Like by the time I was 18, I was pretty convinced that this is what I was going to do, become a cinematographer.